time to get geeked up.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in on this one. Like we said, we watched the wrong Missy on this one. It's we're doing the Sandler voices because it is a Happy Madison production, but it's also a one of those Happy Madison movies where some of the Sandler guys are in it, but no Sandler.
Yes, it's one of the Sandler-less Happy Madison productions, which there are actually a whole bunch of, and I guess you want to just jump right into it with the Happy Madison deep dive here, because I got a little bit of a list prepared, a la the Ridiculous Six episode when we did the whole Sandler. We're going to pretty much do the same thing here, so I get to kind of go hand in hand with that. But looking at all of the movies that Sandler's cashing in on without even being on the set, or maybe on the set but not really the starring guy in.
Yeah, definitely not in front of the camera. It's kind of crazy, too, because the very first Happy Madison movie is a movie without Adam Sandler.
Yeah, because I guess I did bring this up. Maybe I was talking to you just, I guess, off air as we were doing it. But, like, ironically enough, the big Sandler movies, for the most part, or at least, like, the early Sandler movies for me and you are not Happy Madison productions. Ironically enough, Happy and Madison were both, like, under big studios before Sandler, and then, like, based on the success of those. And, of course, Airheads, as we always bring out. And, like, Wedding Singer was another great. Like, those are probably, like, my like the top four Sandler movies right there were all pre-Happy Madison. So you're right. He kind of bust out the scene with Deuce Bigalow being the first Happy Madison production, of course, starring Schneider. Okay, and then so I'm gonna just rattle off all the I'll just rattle off the movies. But again, these are going to be just the Happy Madison productions with somebody other than Sandler as the lead. All right. So, of course, from Deuce, the next big one would be, instead of Schneider, David Spade getting the call for the lead in Joe Dirt, which pretty iconic, you know what I mean? Definitely comedy classic. And same thing with Deuce. How do you feel about Deuce Bigalow? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a quintessential kind of like Rob Schneider AC movie. And same thing, like when you think, when you think of Spade too, besides The Wrong Missy, but obviously you think of like the Farley movies, Black Sheep and Tommy Boy, of course. But with putting those aside, I think the number one like Spade movie you would think of next would be Joe Dirt.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, and spoiler alert, but I got a little bit of a Spade rundown that we'll get to. But like, of course, you know, Black Sheep and Tommy Boy, he's the great like straight guy in that. But those are, you know, Farley movies, and Farley's like the really steals the show. But yeah, you're right. So this was kind of his first, and you know, really probably even to date, like his iconic character would be Joe Dirt. I guess Schneider up next with The Animal, which I remember loving Deuce, and I remember of course my boy Ross, that we all know. I remember him loving The Animal when it came out, and him trying to get me on board. But I remember hating The Animal, which broke my heart as like an early Schneider head. But
this is also, when you run through this list too, you're gonna see this is that slew of like Schneider time, like the early 2000s, yeah. When he was just like doing every other. He was the Animal. He was the Gigolo. He was the hot chick.
No, for sure. Yeah, all character work. And you're right. It's very clear in this early run of Happy Madison Productions that Sandler tried to give the ball to Schneider and let him run with it. But another huge one, though, if you remember, was really huge, I guess, in just what a bomb it was. But I remember being super psyched for Master of Disguise, which Dana Carvey, for me, was like one of my favorite SNL cast members, and Wayne's World, of course. But he really never translated. Like, the Dana Carvey show was, like, absolutely epic, but, you know, I think, what was that, just like one season or two seasons? Like, he never seemed to be as successful. So this movie I remember being so fired up for.
Yeah, and it was a pile of crap too. Interesting enough, man, just doing this too, I didn't realize that was a Happy Madison one either.
Yeah, no, for sure. I actually,
Harvey would have his
Definitely.
Dana Carvey would have like his own production company. He was kind of like the bigger guy before Sandler was.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like at the time, like Dana Carvey was like the hot ticket on SNL. You know, like he was. Mike Myers, of course, was Wayne, but like Dana Carvey was like the breakout star of SNL at that time. Like when he started the Dana Carvey show, everyone thought it was going to be like the hottest thing like come out, and like it just flopped. So it just got canceled after one season.
Dana Carvey was really just seemed to be, especially like at the time. I mean, of course, In Living Color, but Jim Carrey was huge, and Dana Carvey just seemed to be kind of that, like, you know, physical comedian, impressionist, character guy. Like he just seemed to be like a little bit more talented, you know, like Farley and him, I kind of felt were just like they kind of brought something different than Myers and Sandler and all these other guys that were great, obviously, but.
Yeah, for sure. But never really, you know.
But Master of Disguise was a bomb. I guess to continue on, though, back to Schneider for the hot chick, which I guess was really, I mean, if you thought The Animal was the rock bottom for Schneider, I guess the hot chick really solidified it. So then
now I'm going to count.
Sorry.
I'm going to count the hot chick, but there is actually a Sandler cameo in the hot chick.
Okay, yes. No, I mean, I think Sandler is in, because I think he does some voice work in some of these, but he might be in some of these along the way. But these are, you know, other guys with the, you know, getting the real...
Yeah, he's not the lead.
Yeah, the lead for sure. So then Schneider, another bomb for Schneider. So then he goes back to Spade for Dickie Roberts, which was like another classically all-time horrible movie. All right.
Yeah.
Then European Gigolo, which, I mean, I guess, revamping the Deuce character for Schneider, which, I remember, again, huge Deuce fan, so I remember enjoying European Gigolo, but, again, I wouldn't think a success. I don't think box office smash.
I remember, wasn't as crazy about the European Gigolo as the original one.
But, okay, then we go to a very interesting one, Grandma's Boy. Okay, which very interesting, especially controversial topic on the Friday night Zoom rooms, and I guess I'll just come out in the open and say it. But I actually myself have never seen Grandma's Boy. All right, because I guess by this point we're talking like 06 or 07 by the time Grandma's Boy came out. All right, so at this point we're already out of college a couple years, and you know what I mean, like all of these out, and then as well, this is the first Happy Madison, I guess, movie where it was kind of like a new face that he gave it a chance to. You know what I mean? Like the first non-Spade or Schneider outside of the Master of Disguise.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting that you're saying, too, because it's not only is it a non-Sandler Happy Madison production, but you're right. It's no Schneider either. It's literally like the stars of this movie are literally like the three schlubs you see in like the background of every Sandler movie.
And Schwartzen, of course. But yeah, you're right. They finally gave the ball to like the other guys. You know what I mean? Like all those other, the whole other cast. And it turned out to be like an all-time cult classic, as we were talking about on our cult classics, I think, recently. But I mean, it's just one of those movies that really took on a life of its own. At the time, I think, was like a bomb. But really like grew to be like a DVD and like a college dorm, you know what I mean, like classic movie, one of those situations.
And before I know we're going to talk about it a little bit, but just mentioning the budget too. Of all these movies, it's the lowest. It cost the least to make. That movie was only made for $5 million.
Because I mean, these other ones, you're right. Like I'm sure Spade and Schneider and Carvey made more than $5 million easily.
No, I'm not saying it made $5 million. I said it was made for $5 million.
No, their budget, no, for sure. But I'm just saying, I'm sure Spade, budget, like Spade, was making more than $5 million just for showing up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no doubt.
They made this whole fucking thing for. But okay, so then from Grandma's Boy though, we get we figure we have to combine forces with Schneider and Spade, all right, in the Benchwarmers, which was absolutely terrible. Okay, at this point, I'm really running out of faith on Schneider, who was one of my originally.
It's funny you say that, man. I liked the Benchwarmers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was a good return of John Lovitz has a big role in it. So
okay, you're right. Lovitz was pretty hilarious.
So he was in it. Nick Swartzen again is in this one too.
Okay, yeah.
Afraid of the Sun. I don't know, man. I'm not saying that it's a good movie by any means, but I'm saying I like the
You didn't hate bench
more
warmers?
than European gigolo.
That's where me and you differ, my friend. All right, I guess if we want to talk a movie that, like, universal, that everybody hated from here, but I guess Sandler going back outside the box, a la Schwarzen, and throwing a bone to Steve Zahn with Strange Wilderness, which was like legendarily one of the worst movies ever. I think actually it got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, a la Ridiculous 6, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. I'm gonna blow your mind yet again. Pretty big fan.
For real, I actually haven't seen this one. I was going to ask if you had seen it. So you actually like Steve. Like, I might have to watch this one, just, based on my, hatred for the critics anyway. I might have to in-your-face it to him, but... So, Strange Wilderness, not bad, huh?
For sure. I mean, no, it's probably bad. But it's, I remember watching it. I think I actually had it on DVD back in the day.
Oh,
when I was,
hilarious.
trying to just get as many DVDs as possible.
Yeah. The Strange Wilderness DVD is one for the, that's one for the big fucking garbage bag on a Bronx street corner as you moved away from your last... That was definitely... Somebody in Woodlawn, some Irish kids enjoying that one right now in Woodlawn. But, okay, I'm going to give you one more before we kind of reset here, and I look at it as a little bit of an end of an era and got an interesting, thing to point out. But we've got, so then House Bunny, which is another one starring Anna Faris, I guess a Playboy. Mm-hmm. I'm not familiar with this one either. I guess like a Playboy bunny goes and starts a sorority house.
Exactly. She's a Playboy bunny.
Did you see this one? Or
gets thrown out? Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, how decent or...
Yeah, I mean, there's no Strange Wilderness.
No Strange Wilderness. But, okay, so then I guess from here, quickly, I'll give you the next one would be Mall Cop. With Kevin James, big star, and then first the debut on the scene for Kevin James, who then kind of takes over the next era, but then to kind of double back on like the last the movies that we've said so far, because Mall Cop came out in 2009, all right, so Deuce came out in 1999, so for the 10 years from Deuce to Mall Cop, mostly Schneider and Spade carrying the ball. He gave one chance to Dana Carvey. It was a bomb, never seen again in Happy Madison. Same thing with Steve Zahn, who, like, if you wonder what would have happened if for his career if that was a hit, because really kind of banished from the Happy Madison crew after the bomb of Strange Wilderness for Steve Zahn, I was kind of thinking, And Schwarzen will come back, I guess. Like you said, Schwarzen doesn't necessarily leave, but so then 2009 comes around, and then I remember, like, we all remember being like, Kevin James, Sandler, like, what's this whole friendship that spiraled? But I guess it really started with Mall Cop, which was a smash hit because America sucks for some reason.
Well, I don't know, man, because there was, I know we're talking non-Sandler, but the big thing that really brought him was the one where they pretend Chuck and Larry was really what brought Kevin James like in the mix with Sandler's crew.
Okay, yes. All right, that's true. That's a good call. That was one of the Sandler movies, so it's not on my list. But okay, yeah, I mean that is true. That was his real first
That's
intro.
what brought him in with the crew. But you're right, Paul Blart was like his first like standalone. Like, all right, go get it, buddy.
Yeah. And then it was a lot of Kevin James after that. And because the Zookeeper and Here Comes the Boom and Mall Cop 2 all follow in the next, 5 to 7 years, as well as, Grown Ups, I believe, was Kevin James was in that one as well, right?
Oh, he is. Yeah.
So, really all Kevin James carrying the franchise, and all of those movies vastly more successful than anything else that Happy Madison has ever done. So
no, you're right. It's crazy looking at now how much money Paul Blart made, Mall Cop. And,
I mean, probably more than, every Schneider and Spade hunk of shit combined, in all honesty.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. I've never seen it. I'm not a Kevin James fan at all.
Yeah. No, me neither. And it just seemed
he's
like,
so
you know, I mean,
fucking
but
corny.
obviously Sandler needed some, like, fresh blood and somebody to help, because he's single-handedly carrying this team. You know what I mean? And it's literally like Michael Jordan playing with it. Because every Sandler movie, by the way, was like Anger Management, Mr. Deeds, like in this era. Just nothing but smash hits from Sandler. And then he gives anybody else a chance, and total bomb. Like, unthinkable bomb. So then gives Kevin James the shot, though. Kevin James does great for, you know, all those movies really successful. Then I guess another back to one of the OGs and back to one of the iconic characters that we talked about from at this point, you know, 10 years earlier almost, or 15 years earlier almost. But Joe Dirt 2. Okay, which was met by, like, such horrible reception. It never even got, like, an official release, like, theater release, I think, like, moved to cable, or, like, the 2015 version of cable release. And when you look at the stats for that one, they're straight up, and not available, like, how much money this movie made. So not a good sign for Joe Dirt 2, which...
Yeah, I mean, just talking about this and, like, looking at the list, this is news to me that there even was a Joe Dirt 2.
I was going to ask, did you, I remember hearing about it. Like, I knew that it existed, but definitely did not check it out. But
no, I had no idea it existed.
And then I guess really a couple more. Oh, and then I guess as well, actually, there was Bucky Larson, I forgot to mention, before Joe Dirt 2, like in the Kevin James era of all of those. But Bucky Larson, Swartzen's follow-up, like, starring role, which was another, like, like Steven Zahn level, totally shelled, and a 0% on Rotten Tomato for that one as well.
I think it's even worse. Again, like, looking at, like, the movie's budget was $10 million. It made $2.5 million. I think that is usually the worst one on this list is Bucky Larson.
Yeah, I mean, and like at this point, with having a little bit of momentum, like I mentioned, from Grandma's Boy taking off on Swartzen, and like, you know what I mean, him like having a little, you know, a little bit more momentum for that one. It's a little bit of a surprise that it was such a stinker, but I guess. And that would kind of bring us into the last couple of years, though, you know, which from Joe Dirt 2, rather, because, you know, jumping back to Joe Dirt 2. But from there, we've had Father of the Year with Spade, and now the latest Happy Madison Sandler-less classic, again starring David Spade, but the wrong Missy. Catching us up, and then I guess as well there's some TV shows, even as well along the way that people don't necessarily think of, but like the Goldbergers was you know been a real popular show for the last like you know 5 years plus. That's a Happy Madison.
Goldbergs.
What's up?
The Goldbergs.
Yeah, the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
That's a Happy Madison production.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that people might not think. Same thing with Rules of Engagement, which I guess was another Spade vehicle, but that was a Happy Madison. The Gong Show with Dave Attell.
I don't even know what that is.
That was, I remember that show. I didn't realize, and a set, and again, a swing and a miss that was one season, but you would have loved to see Attell in like the Happy Madison crew, but Sandler kind of cutthroat. Somebody gets one strike and you're out. For Sandler, but as well, Swartzen had a show. Schooled, I guess, is like the Adam Goldberger spinoff. Goldberg's spinoff. Schooled is out now, so like as well some TV success for the Happy Madison crew along the way, but. So a lot more work, though, I'd say, than you might imagine without Sandler. However, if you take Kevin James out of the picture, like you could not think of a more just a bigger resume of failures from a film studio.
Ooh, baby, it's time to get geeked up.